Hello, my name is Joshua Gregory, and I'm going to be doing a presentation on Miguel Rodrigo Mazuré, who is a modernist, or who was a modernist Peruvian architect. So he actually was born in Lima, Peru on July 6, 1926. He studied at the Peruvian National School of Engineers, now known as the National Engineering University, and he graduated with a degree in architecturally specific engineering. He immediately showed an interest in integral design, and the beginning of his career, the first 5 years of the 1950s, was spent designing architecture or furniture for the National School of Engineers Architecture Department. Miguel then moved to the US to work with SOM Studio in New York and earned numerous prestigious awards, such as the Peruvian Chauvin Prize for Architecture. He earned that twice, both in 1956 and 1971. He moved back to Peru in 1963 and won another award in 1963, as I mentioned, known as the Technochemical Award. And this was for his work on his building Casa Chavez, which I will go into more depth on later. Miguel's second Chauvin Prize was for his work on a group of houses in Cayo, which he worked on with Emilio Sawyer, another Peruvian architect, and Miguel Cruzaga, who I'll mention a little bit later. He was a friend and an employee of Miguel's firm. They also worked on the Ministry of Culture, or also referenced as the Ministry of Fisheries, in Lima. And this was after they won a competition. And they actually shared this task with Emilio Sawyer as well. So they do have quite a career together. He then again returned to the United States in the mid-1970s, where he became highly involved in pioneering computer development related to architecture and using that for his projects. He also worked on theories regarding weightless harmonic singularities, which had a lot to do with structure, which he was very focused on. Ultimately, he returned again to Peru in 1996, completed several more projects, and died on September 20th, 2014, so pretty recently. And in addition, Michael Cruzaga, who I mentioned, wrote a piece stating that Mazuré took inspirations from Mondrian, Richard Neutra, Oscar Niemeyer, Mies van der Rohe, and more. So I want to start with Casa Chavez, which is in Lima, Peru. It was constructed in 1959. It's actually his most well-documented project, and it sits in kind of the outskirts of Lima in the arid landscape, and seeks to kind of respond to the surroundings through its openness and flat horizontal elements. The structure of this is a grid of columns that is paired with a peripheral structure, which spans almost 8 meters or 9.5 feet. There's concrete slabs that are paired with a ceiling brick technology and edges that are covered by the use of an aluminum profile. And it's said that Casa Chavez took inspiration from both Mies van der Rohe and the Farnsworth House. And this is the one that won the Technochemical Award in 1963. Next is the Rodrigo Mazuré House, which is also in Lima, Peru. It was constructed in 1959. It is a modernist 3-story house intended to be integrated in a continuous way. Miguel designed this through the double height space of the main entrance, and that continues into the second story space, which is also double height. I'm also assuming that this must be his own house or a family member's house due to the name, but that is not very clear due to the lack of documentation, so it's more of an educated guess. The exterior is mostly concrete with instances of large glass panels. Also, there's concrete extrusions and a surrounding garden space. In the description, Miguel actually writes that he focused a lot on the 3-dimensionality and multi-directional system of the building. This is seen through both the reinforced concrete planes as well as the 3 floor levels. He also talks about concepts such as continuous space, unnecessary gaps, spatial expression, and what he calls identities, which are supposedly born from the results of both architectural and structural aspects. Lastly, looking at the Machu Picchu Hotel, it is actually a concept. It was never built. He came up with this in 1969. It is supposed to sit in the Andean mountains and it is a modern, luxurious experience for visitors and tourists visiting the ancient Incan site of Machu Picchu. The hotel was designed to house 400 rooms, total with floors that concentrate centrally the service aspects of the hotel, which means facilities for tourists to visit, such as entertainment functions, sports capabilities, and nighttime activities. He also made sure to incorporate parking for the buses, as you can see on the picture on the left, for those tourists that are traveling up to Machu Picchu, as well as a gondola that you can see at the bottom left and the top right. There's also large glass windows that allow for a panoramic view of the valley and the mountain range. And in true Mazur fashion, Miguel highlights his passion for structure through the large concrete masses, as well as that are holding up the floating building, as well as the angled cantilevered private rooms and forms at the top of the building. Conclusion, I wanted to show just a couple more buildings and pictures because I felt that he had a lot of great work to be seen, but I also wanted to say that I had a lot of trouble finding credible sources or just sources at all for his work or his life and career. And I think that in general, a lot of his work is on par, if not better, than the European and American modernist architects that we hold to such a high standard and are considered revolutionary. And I think that it's a crime that he is so underrepresented in this field and this time period of architecture. So I hope that with time, the canon of architecture and history in general looks to different cultures and brings their amazing work and deeds into the light. Thank you.